Welcome to Ageless by Rescu. This podcast is devoted to exploring the science of rejuvenation, uncovering the most trusted experts, the must-have products, innovations, and technology in the field of vitality, aesthetics, new beauty, and cosmetic enhancement.
Well, I am so excited to be here with you in real life, the most deeply normal recruit of a certain secret organization of Forever Young, the Ageless News, Michael Bublé.
Thank you very much. You look absolutely stunning in your gorgeous red dress and Ageless. And even your friend who came to film this, she looks like she's a cross between, she's hot and yet she looks like Keanu Reeves in the Matrix movies.
Well,
I just want her to dodge bullets and shit. She looks good.
I have so many questions to ask you.
Okay, let's go.
And I have stories to tell you.
Go.
So do you want me to start with my stories and then you reply? And
sure. Yeah, I'm interested.
Because you've been in my life for 20 years. I want you to know this.
Thank you.
I feel like you've been the soundtrack to the big celebrations, a couple of weddings, a couple of divorces, some heartbreaks, some elation, a baby.
Like making the baby?
No, but you were my lullaby. Everything was my lullaby to Lily. So you've been around and deeply in my life. And then you brought out fragrance.
So again, I'm just going to go one more time. So I was a part of heartbreak, celebration, weddings, babies, divorces, pain, but never anything sexy. Never a sexy time.
No, never sexy time. But we could change all that.
It hurts a little bit.
But this is what I was going to say.
Has Ed Sheeran ever been invited to sexy time? What about Bruno Mars?
He's not my guy. They are not my guys.
Who do you listen to?
I can't tell you, but they're not my guys. I'm going to go with Harry. He also drinks the blood of the virgins.
What do you mean? You're talking he's part of your sexy time?
Yeah, in my head.
Oh, I don't think Megan is going to be very happy about that.
Not that Harry.
I know, I was just messing with you. I thought that would be funny because he's the only other Harry I know.
Okay, all right.
I know them,
What?
I know Harry and Meghan.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to tell me what their secret sauce is?
You want to hear the dirt?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not telling you.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. They won't let me into that. I know nothing. So tell me your stories.
Well, my stories are all about you because I think I was living in Paris and a friend of mine who was the editor of GQ at the time came to my apartment with the CD and he goes, "You have to hear this guy." And I said, "What's this?" And he goes, "This is going to change music." And I said, "How's it going to change music?" And he goes, "The gentleman is back."
Wow.
And I went, "Really?"
Wow.
So he's the editor of GQ, so he knew a thing or two about trend forecasting. And it was your CD, your first CD. And we listened to it. And I used to live in the first arrondissement, and I used to live in Geraldine Chaplin's apartment, and I had Chaplin on my doorbell.
Okay. So
it was a chic, beautiful apartment. And I remember so vividly, core memory of putting your CD on and listening to it and going, "Oh my God." And it was all the big American songbooks and covers. So that was my first interaction with you. And I do feel that you pivoted at a time where men were kind of lost about how to present themselves. And then you came along.
Wow. I don't think I knew what I was doing, but thank you. I feel like I was so immature and so young for my age. I was 27 when I got signed, but really I was 13.
Really?
And at 32, I was 17. And at 35, I was 20.
But you came across as so sophisticated.
Thank you, Warner Brothers, for marketing me that way.
Yeah, you were good.
Listen, I've always been sophisticated.
But also...
I've always been sophisticated. Now, listen, I played a character. And for so many years, I found the superhero that I wanted to be, the alter ego that I wanted to be.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so all of the people that I ever looked up to, all the guys that I thought were so cool, and I wanted to have I wanted to sort of have all of these characteristics that I thought were so hip, and they were Teflon, and I was so young and I didn't know who I was, and so when I went on stage, I would find all of these, I would find the coolness of Steve McQueen and that sort of the humor of some of my favorite actors, and I would sort of put them all together and become this character. And so I had no idea who I was unless I was on stage, because in real life I was a completely just a kid, you know. But it worked. I faked it until I made it, and then I started to find out that's who I was.
Did you create that persona, or did you have a team of people advising you?
No, I had no people advising, but we all create that persona. Mm-hmm. You tell me. You created a persona.
100%.
Right? And can I ask you a question? Okay. Do people know where you stole that from?
I tell people because I have a podcast and I have a lot of stories.
So who are they?
So different moments, different times. I'm an immigrant to Australia.
From?
So Iran.
Beautiful.
So when I came here, I was a fish out of water and I wanted desperately to be an Australian girl.
Yes.
So I looked for key characteristics of little girls that didn't look like me, and I adopted them and appropriated them as my own. And I taught myself certain things that my parents couldn't teach me because they weren't from this culture. Yeah. Then as I got a little bit older, it was pop icons, Madonna. Sure. It was like stylistically, but also with that bravado.
Absolutely.
And
that's what I meant more, that she's that tough
and
independent.
Dynasty, Dallas, you know, I'm a child of the 80s. So, you know, Alexis Colby Carrington and those big, bold characters of the 80s. I think I'm channeling a bit of Alexis today.
Yes.
And then, you know, as you get older, you evolve. So for me, it's really interesting to hear your story, that beautiful, sophisticated, suave character that changed the way a generation of men showed up was something that you constructed.
Yeah, I heard something really interesting too. I was 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, I started to feel stylistically I was stunted. You know, I was like, oh my God, I'm wearing the same suit. I'm in a black, you know, I'm boring. I'm wearing the same black suit, you know, white shirt, black tie. And someone from Warner who had come from one of the other companies, she said, what are you talking about? And I said, yeah, we gotta reimagine me. We have to start again. And she was like, you don't have to. And I said, what do you mean? She said, listen, and if I tell you the names, so she said she was working with they're the biggest, or at one point were easily the biggest male stars in the world. Okay, like Harry Styles-esque kind of.
Yeah.
And she said, our marketing meeting was going through your photos of your record covers and your stuff and literally going, okay, we need to put him in this. He needs to wear this. This one needs to wear this. And all this time I was hating on myself because what I was doing was so boring. It's the classic, you know, white shirt and a black tie and a black suit. And all this time, these dudes who I was watching on television, and I was going, oh my God, he's so cool. Oh my God, the girls are going crazy for him.
They wanted to be you.
They were fucking looking at my shit and going, hey. So it's funny how, and you know, I have a very interesting thing that happened that I have not shared with anyone. No one. For the first 15 years after I got signed, I had always been the character on stage, especially. I had been the amalgamation of all my heroes, and I had built this cool dude. And when my son Noah got sick, I never thought I'd come back. Forever. Never. Like I really never thought I would ever come back. I thought I was done. Felt very out of love with music and everything else. And he got better, and I came back. And when I came back, my first show was in England somewhere. It was like 50 or 70,000 people. And I walked out on stage and I was me. For the first time in my life, I was me. I was vulnerable. I was me, and it felt really liberating. And I was like, wow, I'm me. And but here's the weird part. I did a whole tour and I felt great, but something changed. I watched my audience change. They still liked what I was doing, but it wasn't the same. Girls weren't screaming. Girls weren't passing out. And I was like, I could feel it. And I was like, wow, this is so. Before this tour started, I called up my wife and I was like, you know what, Lou? I think I gotta be him again, because as much as I love being me, it's not working. They didn't come. They didn't pay that much money to come and see me. They came to see him.
The fantasy. And I walked out and my wife came to the first show and I went right back into character. And no joke, I make fun of it, but they were passing out. Girls were screaming and they were dropping. I kept stopping the show so that the paramedics they would come through,
and my wife was at the show, and she looked sad. And I said to her, so? And she said, I said, what do you think? She said, it hurts me a little bit. She said, because I can see that you're him again. You're the guy that I used to go and see. And she said, I used to like it when you were you and you were talking about us and the kids, and I could see you were vulnerable. And she said, but I understand. She said, I see how effective it is. I see how much you enjoy playing him. I see how much the audience, it excites them. There's a vibration that happens, and it is palpable. I mean, you can feel it. And for me,
is it addictive for you?
Well, it became addictive because I went, it's healthy for me. And I don't know about you. This was where I was going to take it. I have such separate lives. And I always say that suit, I call it the bat suit. That 2 hours a day, it is completely fragmented, completely different from my life. For 2 hours, I am a superhero, and it comes off, and I am back to being Michael Bublé, just a normal dude. Does it change for you ever? Because I know I have friends that they get locked in, and then once they're in, there is no separation. They're always that character. But do you have a moment where you go home and
I have
you have dual lives?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do they know that?
Well, she does.
See. It's funny it's funny, before I finished that question, she was already nodding her head.
Yes. I have Baha that I've constructed, which is super high energy and a certain strength, and then I have BB, which is the softer, more vulnerable, very stripped back version of me. And I have softened as I've gotten older. It's really interesting for me to hear some of your experience and the world that you occupy, that you gave yourself permission at a certain age, at a certain stage, because of something that was so seismic in your universe.
Sure.
It opened up, your desire to front up as the core you.
Part of that was honestly a fundamental. There was an explosion where the question I kept saying to her, well, nothing matters.
Yeah.
None of this shit matters. All that matters is me being me and kind and good, and I was broken down. That's all I cared about was, just trying to, thank the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, for
all of them,
for giving me my son, and that became, you know what I mean?
I do.
Became very much about that.
I do, and it's interesting because on the podcast, one of the things, we talk a lot about physical transformation, but also with that concept of longevity and agelessness and wellness comes the concept of, who are you at your core and your soul, and the evolutionary stages that you have. And they don't call it a midlife crisis, or they don't call it a breakdown for no reason. It deconstructs you, right?
Yeah.
And there are moments in your life that construct you, and there are moments in your life that deconstruct you, and then you have to rise. And that goes kind of back to my story about your songs are part of the fabric, part of these core experiences in my life where, even now when I hear them, they're either part of the deconstruction or the reconstruction moments of my life. Sure. And because you kind of play in that space of celebration, I think that it's very evocative. And to me, fragrance and music are so interlinked.
I agree.
So it's the same part of the brain that responds.
Right. Absolutely.
It's the same part. So, and I love fragrance. I was born in France. My father gave me my first fragrance when I was 5 years old. And I would love to know why you decided to go into fragrances, because to me there's a natural link, but I want to hear your story as to why.
Money was the reason.
Yeah, right.
I loved making money, and so the deal came. And
seriously, are we really really you don't have a love of fragrance?
Well, it didn't start that way.
Wow.
Well, sure, I have a love of fragrance. Like
Because
anyone
that's my
else, I have a
dream.
love
It's
of
my
fragrance.
dream.
No, my
Like,
dream
if-
was not to be
if
a
I could do-
perfumer.
if
My
I had-
dream was to own a hockey team. Honestly, you want to know the truth?
Yeah, I do.
My dream was to be a fire truck.
to
To literally be a
be the truck.
well, like
not
a
the fire.
transformer.
Ah.
If they could build me, and I could do it.
Okay,
And
he's
then-
in character now. Okay.
No, I'm not kidding.
I want my.
You're asking me.
I want the real.
You want the
Michael
real
back.
Michael?
Yes,
I'm giving you the real Michael.
Okay, good.
My dream was to be a hockey player, and I was shit. My dream was to be, to play Spider-Man, and there was no way that was going to happen. It was never to be a perfumer. No, I don't even know what that. I'm a man's man. I'm a hockey playing, football playing,
Canadian.
whiskey drinking Canadian boy. The deal came. I always liked fragrance. Sure. Like I used to wear in high school.
Tell me. Oh
Oh
my
my
can I
God.
repeat eternity?
I loved Eternity.
Dracan
Can
Noir.
I be honest with you? I still love Eternity for me.
Yeah, everyone loves
That
it.
smell is
It's
so
my
good.
first kiss.
Talk-
It's my
me
first-
too. And so like it was that's exactly right. So it's like
everyone's first kiss. You
and like
smell
I like
eternity.
Jupe. It was weird, but it
Yup.
smelled good, and it was like
Like sugar
obsession,
when you grew up.
obsessionful, man.
Did you wear Dracan Noir?
I
you
did.
ever try to
No, but I had a friend named Steve who used to wear it. It smelled good on him, and I was always jealous because it didn't smell. But this company comes to me, and they go, "Here's a boatload of money to do a perfume,"
Okay.
and I say no.
Oh, you said no?
I said no. I don't want to do it. I'm not. That's not my. I'm not that guy.
Did you say
I'm
in
not-
20 years I'm going to meet this girl whose only dream is to make a perfume and she's going to step in for
So
me?
I wrote my dad an email, and I was like, "Dad, this is a lot of money, and I don't like it. In my gut, it's saying no." And he went, "How much money?" And I sent him the amount of money, and he said, "You're an idiot if you don't do this." So I still have. I would like to think that I have not only business acumen, but I'd like to think that I have a lot of pride. And so I called my manager and I said, "Okay, Bruce, I will do this, but I need full control." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, I want to go to the chemist. I want to be with the perfumers. I said,
He wanted to pick the flowers. He wanted
You think
to
I'm
pick
joking?
the flowers.
I went and flew and spent 3 days.
Grass.
No, I went to the whatever it was called, where they call
Provence and...
no, where they make the chemical
in the labs.
in the labs.
Oh, okay.
And I literally went, I drove them crazy. By invitation, it took me so long. I had 6 test bottles and they kept going, we need to go. And I said, "We're not going. We're not doing it."
I bet they loved you in
They
that lab.
hated Well, then it got worse. Then, can I have that bottle?
Yes, this is, well, I really like it.
Then-
It feels like a labor of love.
then-
I'm sad to hear this.
We made this and I was like, okay, this is good. I love this. Then they brought me the prototype bottle.
Yeah. I love
And
it.
I was in a dressing room getting ready for a show, and the bottle came, and they were like, "We've made however many thousand of these," and I went, "This looks cheap.
Oh.
I don't like the cover. I don't like the shape. I don't like this tone. I don't like the thing. I don't like the
Script.
the script." I named this. I came up with something like 3,000 different names. I was in. Well, you know what? I had worked my ass off for years to earn the respect and trust of an audience, and I wasn't going to throw it away so they could throw my
I
name
respect that.
on something. So I dove in, and then it became something that I was passionate about, because then I knew I could not go. I kept saying to my manager, "I'm not going to go. I'm not doing interviews. I'm not sitting with journalists. I'm not going to hawk something, and it sucks." And so it was important for me. And then this came, they went back. It cost them a bunch of money. I think people wanted to kill me. But then
And you created
made
eau de
this.
parfum. It's not even an eau de toilette. They're all eau de parfum.
Yes, and
which
this,
is pretty
even this
impressive.
cap didn't used to come off correctly. When they did the prototype, it used to bust, and I would call them and go, "No, we're not." Anyway, they probably wanted to sue me a million times. And here we are, however many years into a partnership.
And your 6 fragrances.
A new company came in, bought this, became partners with me, and I can say this because they're sitting in this room, but I would talk up behind their back as much as I would in front of it. They're good people. They're good people. When I went through what I went through with my family, There was never an expectation. They were always patient with me. They become family with me. I don't even know where the deal's at now, but I know this. If they want to re-up on the deal, I would say yes and go again, because it has become a completely different partnership. My only thing is I refuse to talk about it like I'm a perfumer. Like I'll say to them before we get going, they'll say like, will you tell them what the notes? No, I will not. I have now hired and worked with the greatest perfumers in the world. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm, you know, that I'm at the warehouse doing it. I don't. So.
You know what I'm interested in? Something that you said. You talked about the partnership you have with your fragrance company.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure you've signed a lot of contracts
Mm-hmm.
in the past 20 years of your career. And as you said, you were 27 when you first started, so you have a very different approach, and perhaps you're excited that people are paying you attention and they want you, so you do a different deal. And now at 47, it's a really different way of doing business. Mm-hmm. And what I'm hearing is that it's the love, the respect, the trust that is what is so attractive and important to you. And I'm wondering if those values meant as much to 27-year-old you as they do to 47-year-old you.
They always did. I mean, listen, I was 27 when I got signed, but I was 16 when I started working at the club. So it's been more than half my life. But yeah, I mean, you know the reason I got here and the reason that you're here. And you don't get here and you don't stay here because you're lucky. And you don't get here and stay here because you're so nice and courteous. You're all those things.
But you do have a great reputation.
Sure, but I'm also tough. I also I have a deep, high expectation for the people I work with, for the people that I work for the people who work for me, that we all conduct business in the same way. This is going to sound so rudimentary, but my dad is a big part. He's my business partner, and we would go to restaurants, and he would always say to me, son, if people feel they're being respected and given value for the hard-earned money, they'll always come back. They'll always come back. But the moment they feel like you've disrespected them, the moment they feel, and by the way, it isn't a matter of can they afford it or can't they afford it. It's not how much, it's the principle. And so for me, it was always about the principle. And one of the coolest days ever was when this came out. They went and they had some like 60 journalists in New York, and they booked all these rooms, and they smelled it. And every interview, before the interview would start, I'd now talked to these people for years and years, but before the interview started, they'd say, "Good for you. It's really good."
Yeah, it is really good.
Yeah, they go, I hope it does well for you. It should. Because obviously, and I don't want to talk shit about what, like.
I'm just dying to know who you don't want to talk shit about.
No, I don't want to talk shit, but we don't have to say it. But how many of these celeb partnerships and endorsements are horrible because they didn't care. They never cared. Give me the money. I'll put my name on it. They don't give a shit.
Well, you're number one in Australia at Chemist Warehouse.
Is that real? Is that true?
Legit, true, actually number one.
And that's just not my mom going
and
and
like
buying
this
them
market
all?
is your biggest market,
my
right?
Mom buys,
isn't that true?
I think my mom buys more than anyone else. Literally, she keeps filling up the bags and taking them home.
Well, you're doing something right. So the source is good.
Yeah.
Your reputation is good.
Oh, thank you.
Your energy is good. The Batman suit still works.
Thank you.
So I just want to finish up by asking, what do you do to keep your energy and your, the Batman suit alive? You said that you don't want any close-ups because you haven't had your Botox. I've had a lot of Botox. I don't mind about the close-ups. But I'm curious, do you have like a health, wellness?
Yes, I do.
What do you do?
I have a deep faith. I have a beautiful wife who loves me and is the leader and the matriarch of our family, has brought us through hell. Got a great mom and dad. My grandma and grandpa, I miss them, but I got good people, And I got 4 kids who drive me nuts and keep me young. And my life is so good. My life is so good. I'm so blessed. And I
happy
try never to
hear
read.
that.
I never read about myself.
Okay. Will you listen to my podcast?
I will listen to your podcast.
You
I
promise?
promise. I never believe the good things because I'm afraid if I believe the good things, I'll have to believe the bad things.
Yeah, fair.
And I try to stay, I just try to stay in the lane and do things in the right way. That's it.
Wow.
And I'm still a failure. Because you know what? I have days when I wake up and go, you suck, and they're going to find out. Just like we all do, right? But we all feel that. All of us feel that.
Yeah. Yes.
And then the next time you see me, it'll probably be a long time from now. Because I won't be back for a long time. But when I do, I'm going
Really?
to do so much Botox.
Oh my
But
God.
the next interview, you can get as
Yeah.
close as you
I want
want.
to see, but it's not
And
just the
just follow
tops.
your
I
talking.
want to see some surgery. I want to see it all. Like,
What would you do if you were me? What would you start with?
oh my God, I don't know. You've got a great head of hair. You've got perfect skin. You've got beautiful teeth. You're slim. You're fit. Like, I just want to know if you have a brother.
I'd like bigger
Do
lips.
you have a brother?
I don't.
Damn it.
I don't.
You could have like gone to matchmaking heaven. Like, that's the
You
only
know what's
thing.
amazing? You complimented me, and I'm getting sweaty. Like all of a sudden,
No, you
I'm
have a
getting
feedback.
I'm
You know,
getting
wow,
insecure.
That's right. That's amazing.
No, I'm just gonna drink
Anyway.
more of this coconut water.
Well, that's your secret sauce.
Thank you
Michael
so much
Bublé.
for watching the podcast, everybody. It has been a pleasure for me.
It's been a pleasure for me. I want to thank you so much, and thank you for being an
You're
Ageless
you're
News.
such a sweet lady.
Such
Oh my
a
God, you're
beautiful.
such
It was such a pleasure to meet you,
such a pleasure to
and
meet you too.
I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It was really a joy.
I
It was a
would
joy.
love a moment where one day I can see you in like
baby mode.
baby mode. Like
Well, I'm going to come
I'm
to
just
your
gonna house
concert.
coat. Just.
I'll wear my dressing gown to your concert.
Are you coming?
Yeah.
Have you been before?
No, I have not been before.
You have no idea what you're about to
Yeah,
see.
I'm coming, and I'm going to faint.
It is so much
And I'm
different
bringing my
than
daughter. You are coming. We are coming.
But where are you coming? In Sydney?
Friday.
Is that the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. Oh my God.
I want to shout out.
Sure. I'll give you a shout
Oh my
out.
God.
All right, what are you
To
gonna?
my
Do you know what you're wearing?
I'll wear this again if you like.
Sure.
So that you recognize me. It's like, that's that girl.
What are you
That's
gonna? What are you
the
gonna sing?
Everything. That's the lullaby I sang to my daughter. I'm bringing her so that you can sing the lullaby to my daughter.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Not at all. I can't wait to see you.